Spot metering. Spot metering normally is taken from the dead center of the viewfinder regardless of which focusing point is active. It's the method always used when the camera is set for automatic AF point selection. Spot metering takes a reading from about 2.5% of the overall scene. Reading such a tiny area allows for very careful and precise exposure. To activate spot metering when shooting through the viewfinder, you have two options. The normal method is to press the metering exposure compensation button on top of the camera, turn the top main dial to toggle through the available metering methods, then tap the shutter button halfway down to lock in your choice. A feature that's especially handy when you want to make two or more changes to camera settings at the same time is to use the Quick Control button. Press the Quick Control button, then use the multi-controller to highlight the metering method and turn the top main dial or Quick Control dial to toggle through available options. There are multiple options for spot metering. AE Lock and Hold is a new Canon feature, and it's ideal to use with spot metering. You can use spot metering to take a very precise exposure reading and then activate AE Lock to maintain that reading while you recompose the scene and shoot your images. If you're going to be shooting numerous pictures and the lighting won't change, the new AE Lock with Hold feature is especially useful. Linking spot metering to the AF point moves the 2.5% spot area to match whichever AF point is in use. This way, if you're using an off-center AF point, you can focus and take a spot meter reading simultaneously and don't have to move the camera to take an exposure reading. Because of the new 100,000 pixel RGB metering used in the EOS 1Dx, spot metering can be linked to any of the 61 AF points. To move spot metering off-center, go to the first Custom Function menu. Select Spot Metering Linked to AF Point. Press Set and use the Quick Control dial to scroll to Linked to Active AF Point. Press Set again to lock it in. Be aware that if you change your AF area to automatic AF point selection or the zone AF setting, spot metering will return to the center, even if you're set for spot metering linked to active AF point, regardless of which AF points are active at the moment. For more complex scenes with mixed lighting, multi-spot metering gives you the ability to take up to 8 separate spot meter readings and have the camera average them into one final meter reading. In the fifth Custom Functions menu, go into Custom Controls and assign Flash Exposure Lock, or FEL, to one of the following buttons: the AF On button, the AE Lock button, the Depth of Field Preview button, or one of the two available multifunction buttons. Be sure the EOS 1DX is in an automatic exposure mode. Multi-spot metering doesn't function in the manual exposure mode. This reading is saved in memory for at least 16 seconds. It will stay active longer if you occasionally tap the shutter button halfway down. Move the spot area to read a different part of the scene, and each additional button press registers an additional spot reading to be averaged for final exposure. Normal single spot meter readings are especially useful in the manual exposure mode. If you want the camera to always switch to spot metering whenever you go into manual mode, you can set the EOS 1DX up to do exactly that. In the second Custom Functions menu, Metering used in manual exposure allows you to select a metering mode and links it to manual exposure mode. Whenever you go into manual mode, this is the metering pattern that will be active. If you set this to specified metering mode, the camera applies whichever metering mode you've set in the conventional way using the top LCD panel. Spot metering gives you very fine control of exposure and is an ideal tool to compare the brightness of different parts of a scene.